Welcome back to the Witch's Way podcast. I'm Kat.
And I'm Jayme, and tonight we are talking about just women getting older. And I gotta tell you guys that we don't have a name for this podcast yet, but guess what? I'm fucking going through it. And so I thought, this is one of the things that I'm really working through in the last probably 2 years, after losing all my hair last year and just like, you know, periods are changing, I'm getting older, just things are happening. It's like, and actually, you know what? My fucking kid keeps calling me old. Like, it's become a joke to him, and I'm like, you gotta stop calling me old. I'm really...
Well, he's almost 21.
It'll be 21 in November.
So to a 21-year-old, we're ancient.
We're dinosaur fossils.
We're like really old and don't know anything.
Oh my God. And we're basically deaf, dumb, slow, old, crippled.
I mean, they're into that's what he said to us today, right?
Short. We're both short.
Or little is what he said.
Little.
Which is short, but
this topic came about because I've been sort of on this journey of figuring out what it's going to look like for me to age. You know, each woman goes through it in their own time, and I think menopause and like the starting to think about the things that are going to happen to my body as it ages, I can't deny these things. You know, it's not like you can just pretend like they're not happening, like we do with bad relationships or situations. We just be like, blah, 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 I'm not thinking about it, not happening. No, I'm physically living the happening. The things are happening.
Well, and I had an epiphany a couple of weeks back that in 12 and a half years.
Oh God, this is crazy.
I will turn 80
in 12 and a half years. That it doesn't even seem real.
I mean, I'm like that. I look at myself and like, that's not possible. Yeah, 80 is so fucking old, and yet I'm like on the doorstep. You know, I'm on the sidewalk leading up to.
It's crazy.
It's so aging is so wild. Because you never feel, I don't think most people, especially women, I don't think we feel our age most of the time.
No, because I think we get more badass as we get older. You know, I think we feel actually worse when we're younger in our 20s and we're not confident and we don't know what the fuck we're doing and we're figuring things out.
We're questioning so many things and we're so unsure of ourselves, or even if we're not sure of ourselves, it's like, damn, there's a lot of struggling that happens when you're young. And then the older you get, and then your kids get up and they're finally, like, you're not raising them anymore. They're like young adults and they're starting to get out on their own, and you're not having to do the mom thing every day. And then once you aren't raising the kids, all of a sudden, I think at that point you're like, whoa, now that I'm not momming, you know, I get to figure out who I am, not as a mother, but as this woman in the world. And what does she, you know, what does she like to do, you know, because now it's not focused on
dreams and desires. Because when say you're done raising your kids between 40 and 50, there's still a lot of life to lead there, a lot
of life,
And even if you didn't become a mom in that sense of, like, you know, having a child and them depending on you forever, it's an interesting place to get to when you are starting to feel more confident and you don't even realize that this confidence or this knowing, it does come with age. You know, as we get older, we tolerate less bullshit. That's what I truly feel. I'm like, you know yourself more. You've been through stuff. You've learned a lot, most of us, at this, you know, between 40 and 50. And you're starting to kind of say, like, hey, whoa. It's almost like you wake up a little bit. You're like, wait.
I think there is an awakening.
Yeah. That's, you know,
some of the things that you had in your youth that, you know, first of all, you had lots of energy. It was like going out time. It was partying time. It was like all these friends groups and all this kind of like social activity that you do when you're in your 20s and maybe even in your 30s. Then you hit like 40, and now your kids going off to college or graduating high school, and then you start noticing changes in yourself. Like maybe you get gray hair. Like I know you're celebrating your Crone glitter.
It. I only have 4.
You're celebrating your Crone glitter.
Oh my gosh! If I was to go all gray.
But for some women, you know, getting gray hair is like they don't, you know, they have to reconcile with that, especially for women like with black hair who turn really gray, who turn gray really quickly, and it's like all of a sudden they're completely gray and they're like 47 years old, you know, and then they're like, what the fuck?
They feel like they're aging too fast. It's like, no, I shouldn't have gray hair until you feel old.
As a blonde, I don't have gray hair. You know, and my grandpa was 82 and still had blonde hair on his head, which is crazy because But I remember that about him. I was like, oh, I hope I got that trait.
I know. I never knew if I would get gray hair because my mom did it, and I was like, I would love. Oh my God, I've always dreamed about white hair, and it's.
I see women with.
I would love it
with gray hair these days, and they're wearing it like a boss, and it looks.
It can be so gorgeous.
It's so pretty, and just owning it. And yeah, and at 67, so 67, I told you, like in 12 years, I'm going to turn 80. And I'm living till I'm 91, that's my goal. That's my plan. I've already put it out there to the universe. Like, so I'm going to be here till I'm 91. So I got a little ways to go, but still, 80 does sound 80 does sound old, and I see 80-year-old people. I'm like, oh, am I going to be falling asleep in a chair? Am I going to...
What a fucking privilege. First off, all-day naps. Okay, I think a lot of us want that right now. So when you get to the place where you're like, oh, look, I could just fall asleep right now. Perfect. Yeah, I don't have to keep pretending.
My grandpa would fall asleep in his chair in the afternoon. Like
why not?
He probably took like 2 naps a day.
Yeah.
I lived with my grandparents when I was 16, and my grandpa would be out in the chair in the living room. Next thing you know, you look out there and Pop Tingle was asleep,
Oh, man, I wonder what it's like to dream at 80. I wonder if it's like reflections or you're like, is there any... Dreams are crazy anyways. It's not like we're dreaming about our future all the time, but I look forward to it.
So these are the good things, we're talking the positive stuff, but then there's a part of us that's like all of a sudden you start to notice that people don't notice you. You start to disappear. I feel like what I've noticed as I got to a certain age was that for one part of my life when I was overweight, people didn't see me. They look through you. It's like they walk by you and you're a ghost. And now I'm noticing that at my age, it's kind of the same thing where women engage with me more so than men do, which I'm okay with, because they're all creepy dudes anyway. Most of them, they're like they want a nurse or a purse, and I'm not interested in that.
A nurse or a purse?
A nurse or a purse. I saw a bunch that just when I was shopping in the grocery store this week. I saw like 2 really old men, and they're probably like my age, but I'm like, they look really fucking old and decrepit. And they did. They just looked really decrepit and not well. They were both shopping. They both had shopping carts. They weren't together. It was 2 separate people. But what I wondered about them is like, where's their wife? Like,
Who's taking care of them?
Yeah, like, because they're here shopping and they don't look like they don't look joyful. And I just wondered like where their wife was. And then I thought, oh, what assholes guys are. This is a different topic, but I'm going to just throw it out there because this is what I thought.
Oh boy.
Guys are real jerks, and then their wives stay with them for like 40 years, and then they get tired of their shit one day and they're like, I'm done. And that's why we have so many gray divorces, because women finally get to the point where they're fed up. And so I wondered if that was them. And now, they're like, now they're old and alone. And I bet they're sorry about all the asshole things they did to their wife and how they weren't supportive. But anyway, that's a different podcast.
Well, okay, but now I have to throw in my 2 cents because my husband was married and got tired of the bullshit that his ex put him through. So he was actually on the other end of it and had a shitty relationship because his wife wanted to be very controlling and very just... The stories are out there, and was super unhappy. But I've told him a million times, dude, if I'm unhappy, I'm gonna leave. Just so you know, I don't have the stick through gene for that shit. I wasn't born with it. Don't have it. Ain't gonna stay.
She didn't get that from me. I mean, she didn't get that. I got the stick through gene. I'm the one that sticks around forever. No. I'm glad I did not pass that on to.
I don't have
at least you. I don't think I passed it on to Jolene either.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
She'll just
bolt.
Well, I was gonna say she'll either bolt or fuck them up.
Yeah,
like make their life living hell. Yeah. But that's just because everybody likes a little good revenge now and then. So maybe you do that before you leave. That's just another topic of as we age, things do change, and I think that the women who finally wake up and they're like, I'm not gonna how many more years do I have to deal with this shit? Again, I do feel like this is not scientific. This is my personal perspective. Something happens as we get into our 40s where we sort of wake up and we're like, I've got the rest of my life and I want it to be fucking meaningful and I want it to be mine. I want to own the space. I want to own myself. I want to own what I do and I want to be fucking happy. And in our 20s, what people sell us as being happy is not always what makes us fucking happy. And so there is this struggle. I think that when you're in your earlier years, you're trying to live sort of the expectations, the template, what you think you're supposed to want. And it's not until you get to 40 where you finally, like, maybe you've tried like 50 times to make this template life work, and you wake up and you go, you know what? That shit is not making me happy, and I actually don't want to chase money or a career. I want to live really simply. I want to be able to have this small practice. I don't want stuff, a big house, a car, Gucci bags, or whatever the fuck. Whatever society says that we're supposed to get, which makes us happy.
Yeah, which is, brings happiness.
Yeah.
And it usually has something to do with something that you buy, wear, look like, or
it's something to achieve towards, like,
yeah, or the other thing that they really push, and they probably start pushing this at like 30, is all these anti-aging things, right? So like, and they make,
well, that comes before it's the fear of aging, so that's why they're like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, most of women's lives, it's like, oh, stay young, stay pretty, stay fit.
Oh, you hear that
stay
too.
trim.
You'll hear older women say that, like, oh, it must be nice to be young, or like, oh, I remember once people said to me was, enjoy it while you have it. Oh, okay, like, well, I'll try. This was so threatening. I'm like, okay.
Well, there was a thread that a woman posted. She's like, 41 in 10 days and not one single wrinkle. And she's like this, with pursed in her lips, so like there's no lines on her face, right? Also Botox. And I posted a picture of myself that I just took a couple of weeks ago, a close-up of my face where you see the wrinkles around my eyes and the wrinkles on my face. And I said, I hope that you get to live long enough to have the wrinkles that show like you've lived a life, and because there's privilege in that, because not everybody gets to do that. I have two brothers. I had two older brothers. One died when he was 23 in a car accident, and the other one died when he was 54 from pneumonia. He got sick and pneumonia took his life, which was shocking to me because I didn't think people died of pneumonia in the 2000s, which is when he died. And so I posted that, and it got so many, it blew up. It got like 8,500, comments, not comments, but likes, and a lot of people comment on it, and we're like, yeah, I mean, there's, enjoy your youth while you have it, I guess, but don't become fixated on keeping the same face that you had when you were 20 or 30 or 40, because things are changing, and they're supposed to change.
I think that's a big problem.
And I think that there comes a time where you accept it, and I think I did this. I remember when I was in my early 40s, or I was probably 44, and I started telling people that I was almost 50, and they were like, "What?" Because I've always looked younger. I was still a long way from 50, and then when I got to 50, I didn't start saying, or 50 something, I didn't start saying I was almost 60. I shut up, right?
Then it got scary.
then it's like nothing to brag about here, but I think accepting what's happening, accepting the changes that are going on with yourself, and also I do really think this is really important, like finding the styles and the makeup and the hair and the stuff that works for you, that like, what do you want your Crone era to look like? You had your 20s when you were wearing, whatever your 20s was, whatever your 20 vibe was.
Whatever you felt comfortable with.
Whatever your, whatever your 30 vibe was. For me, it was like most of my 30s and 40s was spent like mostly working hard, working 2 or 3 jobs, raising kids, and so there wasn't a lot of like fun stuff, right? It was a lot of serious, like hard working stuff through those years, through the 30s and the 40s, until the last kid reached an age, and then it took me a while to kind of like figure out my style, because it was all work stuff, right? Is the point I was making about those years, was it was most of my clothes that I spent money on were work clothes, and then after that it was like jeans and tennis shoes. So I don't think I really had a style. And thanks to Jayme, because Jamie's like gotten into her she's like weeded out all the like Nike.
It was shit that was just like blend in, be invisible, sort of depression. Don't
workout clothes and beer t-shirts
and just like shit that was just like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go with that. It was never an actual choice. It was just like, oh, here's what's available. Okay, yeah, pick that, And I wore a lot of, I mean, obviously I wore a lot of black, so, because it goes with everything.
I think that one of the things that I would say to you, depending on, is that with each decade, maybe, you know, assess how you feel about your style at this age. I think for women my age, we get to this point where it's like, I just saw another thread that said, well, I reached a certain age, and so I went for the like chop. She chopped up all of her hair, and she's got this like, you know, the man cut in the back where it's like really short in the back and then puffy on top. It's like, oh God, I will never. I made my mind up a long time ago. I would never ever wear that hairstyle. I refuse to wear that hairstyle.
And you know, one of the things that's really cool about social media is we're reflecting on what we saw. It still shocks me that the Golden Girls were like 45. So I'm 45, and I was like, no.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
they weren't.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There is a reel running around somewhere that shows her, what she said her age was, 45 and fabulous or whatever.
The one that was always dressed up.
I don't know their names.
They can't be funny.
I mean, I know Betty White, obviously.
Yeah.
But yes, in that show, they were supposed to be in their fucking 40s.
Oh God.
Girl, what? When was that show from? Because I know I've seen it as reruns, but I have no idea the era that it was actually filmed in the 80s.
Probably, yeah. It was probably an 80s sitcom, yeah.
I 1,000% believe that you can make yourself look a lot older than you need to, or you can also try to make yourself look a lot younger than you need to. I've seen women who go that route as well. It is about finding your own style and what you feel comfortable with. And I don't think that we should necessarily judge it. I just think that if you're already feeling a way, there are so many people out there trying to help women style themselves to fit their body type and what they feel like looks good on them. And I 1,000% follow accounts like that because I need the inspiration. I was in the military. I wore uniforms a lot. You know, when I was growing up, we were pretty poor. I didn't have a bunch of choices on what clothes I could wear. It was like, so I've been limited in my options of what I put on my body, so I never put that much thought into it. Well, now I'm a very well-kept woman, and I can wear what the fuck I want, and I decided that I don't care if it makes people uncomfortable that I look super witchy every single day, or that I dress and I have big boobs and my cleavage shows. I don't care if that makes somebody else uncomfortable. Now, I had to get to a place. I don't care about that now. I did care about that. I used to try to manage everybody's feelings in the fucking room about what I was wearing, and did I look appropriate, and did I match the vibe of the event. I will never do that to myself again. I remember last year in May, I bought a dress, and I hated the dress, but I bought it fucking anyways because it was appropriate for the event. And it was just like the most vanilla, and this is not to offend any white girls, but the most vanilla white girl outfit I've ever worn in my life. I hated every moment of it.
Was this for a wedding?
No, it was for a graduation.
Oh, okay.
And if my goddaughter's listening, she wasn't like, you look terrible. No. It was just that I wanted to fit in the Midwest. And
God. And yeah, where you live is... So you can still be. I just went back to Kansas City, and I was looking around at all of them. I was like, oh my God, they all dress. They got a style in the Midwest. They really do. And sorry, no offense to women in the Midwest, because I know that it's not everybody.
It's not everybody. No, because there were women who dressed amazing, and I was like, fuck, I didn't have the confidence then. But that was different.
But I think, there's this thing about you want to fit in. You don't want to, like, stand out too much, or some women don't. But then also I think you maybe get to the point where you're like, fuck it. I've always wanted to do this. I've always not, like, for you with your, because you've always been self-conscious about your breasts, and, like, they've always been,
they just get too much attention, and that would make me uncomfortable. And then everybody's like, you're trying to show them off or something. It's like, they're just big. They're going to be there anyways, whether I cover them or don't. She didn't get them from me. They got my girls got their boobs from their other grandma, and not from my side of the family, because I don't have any. So they're little. So I never had that problem. Yeah. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I hear their struggles. It's like with any body part that seems to draw a lot of attention. It could be super big lips, a super big nose. It could be big ears. I mean... Big breasts, having
hips.
Big hips, big butt. Big hips. Like, anytime you have a body part.
What did they call me? Thunder thighs?
They called me thunder thighs. Okay, so I didn't get my boobs from you, but I got my thighs from you. Perfect. You didn't have
thunder thighs.
I got called thunder thighs in 7th grade, and I didn't even know it was supposed to be offensive. I ran cross country, and I was like, yeah, they're really powerful. Like, I didn't even know it was an insult. And then when somebody called me saddlebags, I was like, what is a saddlebag? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking about derogatory things, there is this whole smear campaign against older women where there's all these stereotypes, right? And you guys are probably familiar with crazy cat lady, the bitter divorcee, the lonely widow, or now we're going to have a lot of spinsters because women are fed up with men. Spinster, an old maid.
Old maids.
A hag.
Which actually wasn't a bad thing back in the day. That term just became bad.
Yeah.
Super offensive.
A cougar. And then, of course, our latest term, a Karen.
A Karen.
Which comes with a very specific haircut style.
I have always wondered where that fucking came from.
But why are there so many negative words for older women and not very few positive ones when listen to what they call men? Silver fox. He's so distinguished, with his salt and pepper hair. Yeah, he looks very distinguished with his salt and pepper hair, and a wise elder, and a successful bachelor. I'm like, because honestly, like the guys, like when Richard Gere he's before.
No, I know Richard Gere. Don't insult me. I'm 45. I know things.
But when Richard Gere was always very handsome to me, and then he started getting like the salt and pepper hair. I was like, damn, how the fuck do men get better looking when they head into their 40s and 50s? And anyway, at least it appears that they do.
I'm not sure it's necessarily that they're better looking. You just hope that now that they've aged 40 years, they're not as stupid as they were in their 20s.
Well, that's true.
I think there's sort of this look, you survived your youthhood because you weren't so dumb that you fucking offed yourself with some dumb act like jumping over a 40-foot wall. Yeah. Because men do dumb shit when they're young. You're not missing limbs and have massive scars all over you because, again, they're just like, I'm invincible.
But where are the positive, where's the silver fox? I mean, the closest thing that I see as a compliment in this list is cougar, because to me a cougar is not
Stifler's mom.
Is not she was hot too.
I know, you can be called Stifler's mom. Jennifer, I can't think of her last name right now, but she was really, really. I just saw a meme about her, and I was like, "Damn, man, she was really pretty." And so she still is really pretty, and her voice is amazing, and the way she carries herself is amazing.
She's a wonderful, beautiful. She's awesome. I love her.
I also think, what are examples of women getting older that you can embrace? Like, this is something that I've noticed more recently with the actresses that I've grown up with. Like, are they getting into the surgeries or the Botoxes or they're trying to remain youthful in like what commercials they're on or magazine covers or whatever the fuck, And I remember Michelle Pfeiffer saying, she's like, no, this is my face. This is the way it's going to stay. And I thought, that's far and few between, and if they do that, people are not putting them out there for that and being like, look at her aging gracefully, she's so comfortable with all her lines. Well, they don't even say nice things about it.
I mean, why can't aging just be, it's like, look at you got to live this long. Like, how lucky are you that you got to 70? Because listen, the average age for men and women to die in the United States is in their 70s. I think for men it's 74 and women it's 76 or 7. That's young. That seems young to me.
That only turned like 150 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be like 50s was fucking old, so. It's odd to think that there is not more positive imagery, number one, positive imagery in social media, which is why I like to follow older women who know their style and like they are. I love the funky stuff, man.
Oh my God, me too. There's a woman that just she dresses so.
I wonder if it's the same account I'm following because I just love it.
Yeah,
and she talks about being older and stuff, like just embracing it.
Yeah, she's like all out there with her style. She's super. But hey, you know what? This started in fairy tales. Listen to this list of the villainization of older women in fairy tales. So we've been being programmed since we were young.
Yeah,
right?
It's not our fault. If you fear aging or you feel like becoming an older age that you do disappear, you're not relevant anymore, you can't be beautiful, that you don't matter. Like, society, since we were little girls, has kind of told us that we have this short lifespan of when we are marryable, fuckable, pretty enough, like important enough.
We matter. Yeah.
That we matter.
Like our existence
that anybody is gonna give us attention.
Yeah.
And that's the fucking thing that we need is attention. Sorry, I'm gonna cuss a lot in this one just because I am going through it.
Yeah.
I'm going through the realization.
Here's some fairy tales where the older woman was made the villain. Snow White. The villain was an aging woman obsessed with youth. You know, mirror, mirror, right? Fairest of the all, going to kill the young, pretty girl. Hansel and Gretel, the villain, an old woman. Sleeping Beauty, the villain, an older woman excluded from society. Little Mermaid, the villain, an older magical woman. So why are young women beautiful, innocent, and worthy of saving, while older women are often portrayed as jealous, dangerous, manipulative, or evil? So this shit is, we're
pitting the young and the old against each other.
Well, and you know what? So all of these stories, we grew up with these stories. I bet everybody who's listening to this knows each one of the stories that I just mentioned. Snow White, Cinderella, Hansel and Gretel, Sleeping Beauty, and Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
We've all seen those movies probably hundreds of times.
By the way, all written by men, just so we're clear. All written by men. just so we're clear, because can I say this point really quick before I fucking forget it?
Of course.
What I feel like I'm uncovering, it's my own truth. I haven't found evidence anywhere besides the shit that I've seen. I feel like men have pitted younger women against older women because guess what? The older women know what's up, and the men are like, don't listen to her, she's bitter and old, don't listen to her.
Yes.
We're not gonna be like that. No, keep believing in this fantasy, blah 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 blah. If we had wise old women around us, the younger women would not be seeking the attention of all these fucking men because they realize that their purpose matters more. I'm going to bring up a favorite lyric that is, and Taylor Swift wrote this when she was really young, but she said, you'll do more important things than marrying a guy on the football team. But then she wrote that for the song 15. So when we're young and we're thinking about, like, what can we do? What's our big accomplishment? And you're thinking, I want to date the most popular guy, or, like, this is put out in movies. The way that it is sold to us when we're young, and there is no older woman in there coming in going like, honey, this man's attention is nothing compared to the power that you hold within yourself and the things that you can do within the world.
Yeah.
No, instead it's like, yeah, girl, get that man. Oh, you need to, I'll take your voice. I'll take this from you. I'll take that from you. And then you can have your man. Like, that's what the stories have fucking told us. So it's literally like younger women fear older women, see them as something like not desirable, don't want to have a relationship with them. We have nothing in common. We're obviously so incredibly different. Every fucking story we grow up with tells us that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my rant.
Okay.
I think when you say that the stories make older women out to be jealous.
Yeah.
Bitter.
Jealous and bitter.
Mm-hmm. If we took 1 second to think about why an older woman might be, number one, bitter, it's because of the men in her fucking life that stole her youth, and she did all that shit. She wasted youth on them, and if she's bitter, it's not bitter at the young girl. It's like, honey, please let me tell you that is not the way to your happiness, is pleasing that man for 30 years, while he'll give you not much of anything, and then leave you in 30 years for a younger woman.
Yep.
Possibly. Yep. That's like the story, you know?
It happens way too much.
There's a lot of movies and shows about that, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so...
So this gets into the next kind of thing that we were going to talk about, which is the fear of female power. I think that that's why they've kept young women and older women with this, like, deep...
They've tried to divide. Yeah, they tried to divide us. They've definitely tried to divide us and pit us against each other and portray one worthy of saving and one, as manipulative, evil, even evil, or
like
just
they want to steal your essence or something. Girl, I wouldn't. Nobody could pay me to be 20 again.
Yeah,
like
the Snow White, the woman in Snow White. Mirror, mirror. You're going to put her to sleep. So yeah. So, fear of female power. So, in history, those powerful women, as we know, if you've been listening to us for very long, because we've talked about this, midwives, healers, herbalists, widows were at one time the only women who could own property. Yeah. So they were definitely seen by men and society in general, or portrayed as a threat.
A definite threat, because they had nothing that could control them. No man to tell them what to do. They could own their property outright. Nobody could take anything. Big,
long before the 60s, when women started really like waking up and going like, wait a minute, why don't we have the same rights as men? But also, unmarried women were also seen as threat, and independent women. So they were often labeled as these women. They were labeled as witches, dangerous, or a corrupting influence. Oh my God. Are you kidding?
Influence.
I mean, they're literally like making us out to be something that to be afraid of and to squash.
I want to be a corrupting influence to the young women that I meet. I want to corrupt them from wanting to give all their essence to men. Not to say that having family and being married and having children is not like a wonderful experience, but I think the way that we pine after or think that that's our purpose is still sort of, it's still skewed. And I think that my son's generation, which he's going to be 21 soon, I think that they're finally waking up, like at least a little. I don't know though. I don't get out and meet a lot of 20-year-olds because that would probably seem creepy to me because I'm 25 years older than that. But I would 1,000%. That's one of the reasons why we made the meetup, is to connect with women who didn't have older women in their lives, to help them, just to guide them, like just.
Or to, you know, a lot of them are looking for advice, like, hey,
guidance.
Like I you know,
Absolutely.
my boyfriend, you know, just my boyfriend, this or that, and then they're like in their 20s, and they're looking, you know, for like, what would you do in this situation? It's like, oh God, I've been there. Listen, run. Run, and here's why, because this is somebody trying to control you, which begs the question, what happens when women no longer need permission from fathers, husbands, churches, or the government?
Mm-hmm. What happens when women no longer need that permission?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's something to think about, and how society still to this day is like, well, the whole trad wife thing is coming back around again, where there's a certain segment of our society that's trying to push women back, turn time back to the 60s, where women stayed home, they stayed in the kitchen, they just had babies, they didn't go to work, all this shit. And
I understand the allure of that. I really do. Like, I've listened to both sides on that actual topic, and I get what the women are thinking now, because you still have a relationship, but you're not, there's not a mutual thing, right? The woman still gives way fucking more than she should. In today's modern relationship, it's like she also goes to work and does everything, but still takes on all the responsibility at home, and they think that the answer, this is my belief, they think that the answer is that they should just be able to stay home and raise their kids. No, your fucking man should step up and do more. That's actually what would be the answer. It's not giving you all this time off and putting you back in the kitchen and the home life and all of that. Although growing gardens is a beautiful thing. But what I think they actually don't realize that they're lacking is that their partner is not supportive. Because if they felt like they needed to be home and do all the things, there's not a partnership. Everything is left to her. And that's my personal opinion.
I would like to recommend a book to anybody that hasn't read The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan. I can't think of Friedan. I think that's how you say her name. Because it talks about, she was a writer like in the 80s, 70s and 80s. She was a young woman, and she was writing all of these stories for like big magazines. In the 60s, she was even doing this. And the big push after the war, after World War II, when women, you know, when the men came home.
Yeah. And they were angry we had all their jobs.
Yeah, they were pissed off that now they wanted the women to go back to where they belonged, into the kitchen and staying home. And there was this whole push. I mean, there was this whole entire like marketing campaign to promote being a housewife, just a housewife, or a stay-at-home. They called them housewives then. It's like that, and that was their goal, like to stay home, take care of the kids. But what happened in that era was those women, and I think about my own mother and how unhappy she seemed to be at times.
All the drugs that they put them on.
Yeah, the drugs they were on.
So many housewives were on drugs.
They were on a lot of drugs. There was a lot of depression.
Was huge.
There was, and it was because if you just stay home and take care of your kids and there's nothing for you, then at some point in time you wake up and you're like, what have I done? I mean, most of the women went to college. But they went to college to find a husband. They didn't go to college to go out and have a career, because that's not what society was selling. That's what newspapers or magazines. There was a lot of ladies' magazines back then, and all they did was talk about the home. There was nothing about current events. There was nothing about what was going on in the world, because that was thought to be too much for the little housewife to handle. She didn't want to think about those things. I remember reading something where they were pushing sewing, right? Sewing your own clothes. And my mother was a seamstress, and I remember it's like, so I'm like, my mom bought into all that shit that they were selling in the 50s when she was, she had her first kid about 1955 when she was like 16 years old. But, the lifestyle that they were selling to them, and then what happened is those women ended up becoming very unhappy and unsatisfied. They were like, is this it? I just clean, and it only takes me so long to clean the house, and I just cook, and it's like, yeah.
I think about my dad's mom and how you told me, I never got to meet her. She died before I ever got the chance. In the 90s. I think she died in 91, actually.
Okay.
On the winter solstice, by the way. But I remember you telling me about how she had her little routine, and she had all those novels that she read, and she would sit with her.
She did. She had like a little den. And she had bookcases that they were floor to ceiling, and the whole shelves were lined with these romance novels, like the Barbara Cartland ones. If you guys remember those, anyone's my age will know who Barbara Cartland is. She wrote all these romance novels, and it was always the guy on the front with the flowing hair on a horse. The Fabios, yeah.
Oh, Fabio.
And she would sit, and she had a keg of beer. There was a keg in the garage.
Oh, it was a keg of beer?
It was a keg in the garage, and she used like a big cup like this.
Oh,
like
Jayme's got this.
She had her own Yeti, but it had a handle on it. It was a thermal cup, and she would just sit in her chair and smoke and read and drink all day long, and that's what she did. Yeah.
I have 30% my grandmother and me then, because I definitely read like crazy, but that was a huge influence from you. I went through the last 10 years. Well, I've been off beer. I let go of beer probably 2 years ago, maybe not that long. But yeah, I went through like 10 years of drinking beer, and I never liked it before that, but I went through this fucking like 10 years
phase, yeah,
of drinking beer and craft beer and the whole beer world. Learned to brew beer, did all the things with beer, and now I'm fucking over it.
I became a beeraholic when I came to Florida, because when you move to Florida,
so into it, yeah.
When you move to Florida, everybody goes to the beach or on a boat, or you're either at the pool, at the beach, or on a boat, and you're drinking beer. That's what you're doing. You're out in the sun and you're drinking beer.
Because if you drink alcohol or wine or anything else, you're getting fucked up real fast. That is not good. You need a light beach beer. We had that down to a science. So I love that.
Okay, so let's talk about Crone archetypes. Maiden, mother, Crone. Modern cultures celebrate the maiden. Yeah, still to this day. Most cultures.
It's a huge focus.
One that doesn't, though, one that still is very much holds elders in reverence is Asian cultures. Like
when I lived in Japan,
and they live in generational. Their generations live together.
Usually about at least three. Three is really common. 3 generations. So grandparents, parents, and the kids. And even when the kids get older, like the grandparents are still there. Yeah,
but they respect and revere and honor their age and their wisdom and their experience and stuff. And I don't know if it's just Western society, Western culture, or if this is how much this goes on in other parts of the world, because I'm not a world traveler. But there's some cultures that still do respect and honor their elders, but so many of them are like, grandma, grandma.
Off to the home, or,
grandma.
Don't listen to her, she's crazy.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, grandma, yeah.
I find it really tough because, I think the other thing that has kind of pushed me into this realization of aging is that I started taking care of my mother-in-law 3 years ago when her husband died. And so now I didn't grow up with grandparents so much. I didn't grow up with grandparents at all, actually. The only influences I had of older people were either people in my neighborhood, people at school. So I didn't get relationships with older people. And now, 3 years of being with her, I see a lot more. I understand a lot more. You learn a lot of patience, kindness. You slow down with them. Like, there is so much benefit to being around an aging person, because it really helps you put things in perspective when especially if you're young and you're just go and hit it and just like trying to achieve and all that. Older people can slow you down and help you figure out purpose and what matters and what to actually be grateful or thankful for, or to have grace with yourself, or like the things that we find are such a big fucking deal for us. They're like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you start to see what really matters. I mean, if you're around somebody who's in their 80s, and they're still cognizant and they're talking to you and they're sharing their stories with you, they've lived a long life and have a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were once in their 20s and were hustling and all of that stuff. But then they get to, you know, looking back, reflecting back on the life, you'd like realize all the time that you wasted worrying about things that turned out to not be so important, that you thought that you gave so much significance to when you were younger. You're like, God, I used to drive myself crazy about that, and now I'm just like, why?
Well, that's the energy that I feel like we're sort of through the magazines. You know, this is something that I wrote down in my notes when I was thinking about this podcast is, man, I remember being in the military and then on bases and then in different offices, and like you always saw the women's magazines everywhere. I don't see that now because I'm just not around anybody who would have like a Cosmopolitan, or I don't even know any female magazines anymore. Like,
yeah, I don't know what.
I mean, 17 from when I was younger, maybe.
Yeah.
But even those, you start to read them and you immediately start picking yourself apart because of the articles and what they're doing and what's sort of like, this is what's in, or here's what's popular, or here's how to deal with this, or here's new hair.
Well,
all the shit.
Well, you know what? All the articles are focused on how to fix something about yourself, though.
Yeah,
right?
true.
How to fix something, how to prevent something from happening.
I don't even think I realized that.
I mean, you know, those magazines are targeted toward young women, and it teaches women to fear aging, because anti-aging, like, don't get wrinkles, you know, like, use this cream, start using this now in your 20s.
Keeping your skin
keeping your skin.
This.
Their Botox, you know, get the fillers, you know, as soon as you get like a little line on your forehead, you better go get Botox and take care of that.
Yeah.
You know,
it was also about weight and
diet culture, the whole diet culture. And then just like, you know, you can't, you know, the beauty standards of you have to wear makeup or you have to look a certain way, dress a certain way, the beauty standards that are out there, like skinny, you know.
And then the facts that we probably all didn't know back in the day is that every fucking picture is airbrushed. Nobody looks like that.
Nobody looks like that.
Nobody looks like magazines.
Every one of them, they make those models, even the models are super thin.
Yeah.
They still like trim off. They make them look like stick figures.
It's what is observed in real life looks different on pictures. It just does. Something about the camera skews the way that things look. It's like a perfect example. Try to take a picture of the fucking moon. Tell me, does that shit ever come out looking as beautiful as the actual full moon when you're looking at it in person? No, because the eye can capture so much more than an actual camera can. So my husband was talking about this the other day. He's like, how is it that iPhone pictures can't come out, blah, 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 but we can get the perfect picture of Jupiter? And I was like, honey, that's like 30 pictures overlaid on each other. That is not one single picture of Jupiter. No camera can do that. Just letting you know. He was baffled. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, no, NASA takes like a bunch of different types of infrared at different, like, no, that's not, Jupiter doesn't just look like that. Even him, he's being, I mean, this is a picture of a planet, but it's the perfect example of even men seeing these magazines and, what was the Maxim? I worked in a heavily male-dominated sector for 15 years because even after I got out of the military, I still worked in the male-led industry, and that was what men had all the time. Maxim and all these photos of girls and all the things and how to give a good blowjob and the weird shit that they would put in this stuff. And the guys are reading it, they're like, yeah, this is so easy. Oh, women have it so easy. Not realizing that 95% in there is fucking fake. But that is their reality because it's what they're seeing. They think that exists in the real world.
Which is why you see so many of them following bot accounts and talking to bots.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That are just AI generated beautiful women from, you know, are like, I love you.
Who are all the things that they taught women should be, just nice and pleasant and happy all the time, not allowed to have
with a really teeny tiny waist, like, and a big ass, and like the hourglass figure,
all the things,
completely flawless skin, long beautiful hair.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I've seen this thing where it's like, damn the man that made the mirror or something. You know, it's like we weren't made to see our reflection all the time and just like to judge, to criticize, to be able to see ourselves through the eyes of others, you know. And then also all the people who, like, you get exposed to millions of people and viewing them, so you can start critiquing the 20 people you know in your actual life. It's like, okay, wait, hold on a minute, like, you're judging me against like 30,000 women you've seen in your whole life, and whatever magazines and porn and this and that and shows and airbrushed and
AI now. Now we're dealing with AI, where we've been dealing with filters for a while.
Yeah,
for
filters.
What we've had filters on our phones for what, at least 10 years.
Yeah, when did Instagram come out? Like
I don't know.
2015?
But there's been filters, where you can
that's where that started.
Like while some years ago, probably when I was first here, I did use filters. I was like, oh, just a little filter, right? And then I got to a certain point where I'm like, you know what? My face I don't want to see my face filtered, because then when I look at my face in the mirror and I look at my face in a picture that I took and I see the difference, I'm like, it doesn't look like me. Yeah. I don't look like that.
It doesn't represent real life.
And I don't want to, like, who am I trying to kid? I don't want to. It's false, and I'm like,
that's why I didn't want filters.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
And there's something about accepting it, and then working with, and also, like, what's on the inside that's coming out. What are you happy? Are you satisfied with your life? And is that light from inside of you shining out into the world? Because I think that's more important than what your face looks like and any wrinkles that you may have or whatever.
So this is, we originally started this with talking about Mother Made in Crone, and I think that's where we get to, that the Crone is never put on the cover of things. She's never talked about as being that wise older woman or women group that younger women can seek and go to for wise counsel, that are not jealous of her, that do not want to aim her in a wrong direction, that they're not trying to manipulate her, steal her youth. They're like, girl, do it right for us. Like, do it right for all womankind, Yeah. I think ultimately it's like, let me help you realize that the things that you think are super important because that makes everybody in your life happy except for you is not actually what you want.
Well, the things that you're being told,
too,
that will make you happy.
Living. Yeah,
right. So here's the things: if you do all these things, you're going to have a successful, happy life. But do you really? Because are those the things you want, or are you just listening to people that are writing magazine articles to sell some fucking product or something, And
if we think about some of the most revered women in history that are still, like, publicly everywhere today.
Yeah.
Mary, mother of Jesus, virgin, like... She had a son that saved the fucking world, but she was a virgin at the same time. Oh my God, who can ever stand up to that image?
Yeah.
Then you have Mother Teresa. I remember people saying this a lot to me when I was younger. Like, you're no Mother Teresa. Well, who the fuck is supposed to be? She was her own self. Like, what do you mean? So the women that even as you get older, or things that, like, last through history, nobody is talking about the wise, intuitive, independent, self-governing woman of the Crone. Where are our examples like that? And Mother Teresa, wasn't she a nun? So she also was not married, couldn't enjoy her own life, her own pleasures. It was like, no, give to others. Give your whole self, dedicate your whole life to everybody else. Never give anything to yourself. So the examples that they even bring up of, like, women that have lived, and again, who are the ones that they're celebrating, society throughout the world, that have actually owned their own life, made their own decisions, have been accepted as making mistakes, growing older, not being fucking a virgin for life, or not being able to have relationships and building strong bonds? Like, who are they? What women? Seriously, if you guys know any, please put them in the comments, because I really don't know. I need to look it up. I'm hoping
that some of us, because I'm a Gen Jones. I don't know
what that means. What's a Gen Jones?
Generation Jones is the generation that was, like, from about 1956 or 7, something like that, to about 1965. You're in between Boomers and Gen X, because I do not. Those of us who were born at the tail end of the Boomers, and by the tail end, I'm talking about, like, the last 8 or 10. We don't have the same experiences that the Boomers had. I'm totally, like, completely different. We also don't have the same experiences as Gen X. So we're right there in the middle, like at the end of it and then the beginning of this other generation. I forgot where I was going with that. What was I saying? What were we just talking about? Yeah, so
women to look up to.
Oh, yeah. What I was thinking is that the
women that we can look up to.
What I was thinking is that I think that the women of, like, after the Boomers, all the generations of women after the Boomers will be the ones that will be like, yeah, because I'm seeing them with the gray hair, like rocking the gray hair, rocking the pink hair, rocking tattoos, rocking a style that they're like, this is my style. I'm 55 years old and I'm wearing I look like Joan Jett. And and I'm fucking, because that's the style, or they're like super chic or whatever. But I think it's going to be these younger generation of women's after the boomers that are gonna be the ones that are gonna create these older women that younger women that can look up to and look to for wisdom and guidance, and to be able to trust, and that know that these women have their best interest at heart. Because honey, we've lived all this shit, and men have been shit for a really fucking long time. And we can tell you so many stories and why you don't want to move in with a guy. I'm totally against, I lived with, my thing was like living with men, and this is something that was part of my generation where we were like, we don't need to be married, and we're just going to live with them. And when Jayme was going to move in with the man that's now her husband, I was totally against it because I had done it too many times. And my mother was like, no, move in with him. And I was like, can you just not tell my daughter what to do?
Also, I was like 35, by the way.
Yeah, but I didn't, we give up so much when we cohabitate.
I could see that.
We give up a lot. We lose a lot of ourselves, and we end up being put into the role of there's a role in our society that says, here's what women do in a relationship and in a home, and here's what men do. And women are doing 80% of the household shit, and that's not fair. So I think women in your millennials, like your age group, and then ones that are a little bit younger than you, or a little bit older than you, they're going to be the ones that are going to start coming out. They're going to be your like 70-year-old Stevie Nicks, right?
I can't fucking wait.
Stevie Nicks, 76 years old, still rocking the long hair and the outfits that she wore when she was 60, and out here with young artists like Taylor Swift, connecting on that level because of her experience and, the knowledge that she's had and the wisdom that she brings with her. And then the young art, I just see that happening. That's what I hope is going to happen anyway. And I think it can. I think women have to decide. I think the women right now that are like in Jayme's age group, you guys that are in that age group, and even women in my age group have to decide that like we want to be that example. We're not going to be our mothers or our grandmothers and fade off into the sunset and just be like, we don't matter anymore, because we got something to say.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why we keep our witches circle, and we have a diverse group of ages throughout that.
We do.
As we get together, and it's like all are welcome. We always tell people like bring your friends in. It's just a place where women can be together to not be judged or hurt, attacked. You don't have to worry about anything. Every conversation is open and free flowing, and anything you've got on your chest that you need to get off or just talk to other women about, which I think that is probably the thing that hurts us the most by pitting older women against younger women or vice versa, is that this lack of communication between us, we are losing the wisdom. When older women are not able to reach younger women, they're losing that wisdom. Then they have to fucking do everything to gain it, right? Like they could be learning the lessons by listening or asking questions or just being around the influence of it. And I think that that's why there are more older women creators that I love, because it's like, yes, do not become a recluse and like disappear. I don't want you to disappear. I want to see everybody. And I appreciate those accounts so much, because I know that there are people who come on there and give, hate towards what they're doing by being seen as that older woman. And that just fucking makes me want to support them more. Like, you know what? Yeah. I'm against that. And it's like, there was another thing that said, women in their 40s, it's not our job to look 20, it's our job to make 20-year-olds look forward to being 40.
Yeah. And
I fucking love that. I was like, yes. Carrie Ann is probably one of the few younger women. I mean, actually, all the goddaughters, so I'm an example there. But I have like 4 younger women that I really have possible influence over, but I'm going to make sure that I keep telling them, like, honey, it is about you. It is not about pleasing other people.
Yeah, and, this is, I feel like that our content, our witches' content is targeted toward that demographic, to try to teach them, because there's so many young women who are like searching. They're searching for, because they've seen what religion does. They're like turned off by it, and so they're searching for some kind of a connection. And so I do feel like our content is geared or focused on all women, but also women that, you know, are seeking something. And young women are seeking. Young women are like out here going like, is this it?
Yeah.
Because they're looking around at their mothers and their grandmothers and seeing the hard life that they had and going like, yeah.
And it's not always easy to connect with the women in your family because there's so much there already. And a lot of times the struggle that I have with the younger women that I've known in my life, I've known them since they were really young. And it's like, it's so incredible to imagine them as being women, but they are grown women now.
I
and
know.
It's like,
I cannot believe
shit, it's so wild.
I cannot believe that you're the grands, you call them the gods?
Goddaughters.
The goddaughters.
Yeah.
Are all like in their 20s.
They're in their
20s now. I'm like, wait a minute. They were
All
just
of
like,
them.
they were like 14 just a couple of years ago. And now they're 25, graduated college, started teaching kindergarten, you know, 27 or whatever.
Girl, don't even ask me. I can't even believe it.
Off living in a whole nother, all the way across the country. Living their own life and, you know, in a completely different. Go do that. That's what I want. That's what I want to encourage. It's get so out
wild.
there. Yeah.
I know. If I had a message to younger women, that would be it. Dude, live your life and don't listen to anybody else. But also don't center your living around a man and his needs and like thinking that a relationship is something that fulfills you or makes you whole. It doesn't. I think that's the biggest lie that I've ever been told as far as like a soulmate, so that you're whole. It's like two halves.
Yeah.
That is a terrible fairy tale that men who write fairy tales put in our head to think that we need a man to be complete and whole. You will be better off finding women that you bond with so well that it's your chosen sister and you travel the country with over a guy. Promise you.
Yeah.
Promise you'll have more fun, because the women that you decide are in your circle and that are like family, when you travel with them, you two are lifting each other up. And I have a husband that I love very much, but there is still expectations or needs, or there's these things that we do for each other relationally that if I had a girlfriend, I'd be fucking free to do whatever I wanted. And she'd be like, yeah, let's do what you want to do. And that would be the way that it goes.
I love reading the posts from women who were like, yeah, I just want to start a community of women where we grow vegetables and rescue animals, and we all live together and share. And there's women that are setting up these communities that are doing this. Like I've read women buying acreage and putting these tiny houses on them and having women come and live there.
That's how I'm going to get through my widowhood. Because I know that since my husband is 20 years older than me, he will probably die before me, and I have accepted that. I told him I would rather me have to deal with the burden of losing you than you deal with the burden of losing me. So I fully accept it. But I have plans for being a widow. Like I have big plans for widowhood, and it involves nothing but women. So that's what I want, to grow women culture and societies. Yeah.
Well, I have come to recognize that there is a gift. It's a gift. The gift is becoming a crone. So because that's our last phase, right? That's the last stage of our life.
True.
And for me, it's like, I feel like each day, it's almost, I feel like I'm changing like all the time, because I'm having these crazy realizations or awarenesses that are coming to me. It's like, damn, they're like epiphanies. It's like, oh shit, the problem wasn't her, it was you. So I'm having these things, you know, it's like I'm still learning even at my age. And I'm proud of that. You know, I'm proud that I'm seeing that. But that's part of this gift. I feel like I'm becoming more of myself every day that goes on, like who I'm supposed to be.
We were just talking before we got on here, and I told her, I said, you're more you than I've ever seen you be in your whole life.
I am more me.
You're more like you are more of you.
I'm 7 years out of a relationship, so I feel like I'm healed from that. There's no residual like, oh, you know, longing for it or anything like that. It's now reflective. It's like, wow, I can really see things clearly. But also, you know, the other thing that I've gained is like I still struggle with boundaries from time to time, but boundaries, confidence, perspective, freedom. Oh my God, I can the freedom that I have now at this age, at this phase, right here, where I can do anything I want. I can spend all the time I want with my kids or not. But I'm
coming over anyways, and she has no choice.
But
I'm gonna be here.
also like less concerned about what other people think.
I love that aspect of getting older. And I like that one a lot.
And being able to just choose for myself. Like, this is what I want to do. I don't want to do anything on Saturday. I'm just going to lay on the couch because that's what I feel like doing today. And that's okay. I've earned that at this age. So,
and you have to get through that, because I remember calling you a couple years ago and you're like, I'm being lazy, I'm laying on the couch, and I would tell her, I'm like, that's not lazy, dude, that's self-care, like, you're just doing what you want to do, there's nothing lazy about that. Did you have something you have to do, like somebody's forcing you? But we've been programmed throughout our lives, especially when you're a working woman, that's just like laying around is lazy. Oh, you're not doing something, taking care of something, don't you have things, where's your to-do list, ma'am? And getting to the place where you're just like, no, fuck it, this is what I'm doing. It's a really nice place to be.
I hope that's what becoming, I think for me that's the becoming the crone, or into my crone years, where I all of those things, right, that I get to experience at the place where I'm at, where it's like, fuck it, I'm doing what I want.
I know that my sister has always called me a grandma, so I've always had grandma energy, which I'm totally fine with. That never bothered me at all. But I'm finally getting to the place where I'm embracing more of the idea of the crone ideals and perspectives, where it's like, I don't need to care what everybody thinks. That's not for me. That's not, number one, it's none of my business what everybody thinks about. Don't care. I need to think about me. Where do I focus my energy? Where is it best placed? And to give it to the people who need it.
And also like especially with your clothes and stuff, like going out every day dressed looking like a witch and stuff, it's like that makes you happy. It makes
me incredibly happy. My closet now makes me happy. I get excited to get dressed. But that's been a process, because it's not only from like being younger, never fitting in with like the things, and I've never been into fashion really, or like what's in style. I had things that I just liked, and that was it. And one of them that everybody really hated was I wore like sneakers, shoes with skirts. Now you go to Europe, everybody fucking does that. So again, I just think that somehow my speech impediment that made me sound British when I was younger, the way that I dress, I was made to be in London. I'm just saying, I think that that's just true. But I can remember people here in the States never liking my style or the way that I dress. I was like, I don't really care. I'm comfortable. This is what I want to wear. And I'm getting back to it. And my last phase is going to be getting to the gym in clothes that I'm comfortable in, that's going to be my last phase. So my two hard points were like, wearing what's available, what's acceptable, but then also not getting attention from men because I'm a sexual assault survivor. So there were two things that I really battled with that, and I've overcome it enough to be like, if somebody probably tries something now, I don't know that they're gonna survive it. Like that is more my fear now. I'm like, I don't know if they're walking away. Like they wouldn't know that they're walking into a cage with a fucking tiger. Like they wouldn't know the rage that I have in me that could be unleashed at any moment. Which is why I no longer carry a concealed weapon. So
even if it's just like a good tongue lashing, where we're telling them off, or embarrassing them, or completely embarrassing them in
embarrassment. I'm very good at that.
In front of people when they say something inappropriate or do something inappropriate.
I'm no longer like the part of me that shrunk after all of the assaults have happened, because it wasn't just one, it's been multiples throughout time. So I've shrunk myself down to try to not be noticed. And I had to take antidepressants for at least a year, because I was becoming so incredibly unhappy with who I was. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why am I so lost? And I know myself so well. I could write a book about myself and know exactly who I am, but putting that out in the world felt so incredibly scary. And then, after just time, shadow work, and experimentation, and then little by little stepping out as who I want to be and who I am.
Well, look how we've been when you wonder, like, what's wrong with me, or, when you're questioning yourself, like, what's wrong with me? Look at the things that society has been teaching us since we were little girls, to be afraid, to fear all of these things, to live this template life, and then when you don't, you're like, oh well, now I don't fit in, or you're worried that you're not fitting in. So
I want to make a point to something that Cameron and I just talked about today, because I watched the fucking Barbie movie today for whatever reason. It was on in the background while I was doing work, and I've watched it a couple times. We went to the Barbie movie, right? We all dressed in pink. We went there. We saw.
We did. I don't remember that.
Maybe it was me and Julian, but I swear we made you go. Yeah, I think it was the three of us. We went and saw Barbie at the theater in Venice.
Really? Okay. Last year?
Like 2 years ago, yeah.
That's what I don't remember.
2 years ago.
That's another great thing about getting older. It's like, I don't remember that. I don't care. If it's not super important, it was...
Oh my gosh. Well, I like Margot Robbie a lot. Just the way that she got started and things that she's been through. And she was directing it, and then they convinced her to play Barbie. But anyways, you sidetracked the ADHD girl. How am I supposed to remember?
Okay, you were talking about Cameron. You were watching it. Talked about Cameron, and
because this came up today, and it's in the it sort of hit with the Barbie movie. So now I'm going to say it. This is the third time it's been being introduced to my day today, so I feel like it's appropriate. What we can get hung up on sometimes, and what I have taught some younger women in my life, is that you are not stupid. And specifically stupid is one of the things that I've heard a lot of younger women call themselves, that they think they're stupid. And actually what it is that we've not been exposed. And I learned that really early on, that when we're naive and we don't understand and we don't know, we tend to think like really hard on ourselves.
Internalize it.
And that's not what is true and real. It's that you have never been exposed to it. And this is where I feel like the gap between the crone and the maiden could really fix a lot of shit, because older women would have told you that story. You would have heard things before. It would not be new to you. You would not have this misconception about the way that the world is supposed to work, because the older women would help you understand the things that are going to come. And so when I have been around women who didn't have good parents, who weren't, I don't want to say educated, but yeah, they weren't exposed to certain things, educated through books or stories or whatever. And I'm not talking like stories like fairy tales, but cautionary tales of women giving themselves fully and then ending up with nothing because men will drain you. It's more about finding the influences and realizing I don't know a lot, so maybe I shouldn't make this decision. Maybe I should look into other things. The fact that when Google came around, you know how excited I was for the internet, because when I was little I used to want Encyclopedia Britannica so I could learn everything, and that way I would be prepared for anything. But this is what older women offer now, is that we have been through so much and learned so many things, that we are the women's Encyclopedia Britannica now. We're holding all the stories, we're holding the things that could possibly help, and we don't all relate to each other, and that's fine, but find the people that you do relate with. Find your group of women that you can learn from, because it's not that you're stupid or that you keep falling into these same bad habits. It's that you don't have the right influences in your life to sort of guide you, steer you, educate you, expose you to things, and be like, honey, we've watched this story play out 15 times. This is the way it goes. And give you key things to look for within your own story. They'll be like, oh yeah, nope. Okay, this was the first 3 chapters are exactly the same. Probably the next 3 are going to be the same. I think about it like a book, and if you're young and feeling like you don't have shit figured out, find older women, talk to them, learn from them, get the information that you can to make better decisions, because they know a lot more about the world that's what's going on. I'm still fucking learning. I feel young at 45. I know I'm supposed to be old by my son's count, but I still feel like I don't know what the fuck to expect. I'm learning every day. I think as long as we realize we're always learning every day.
I think that's the important thing, is that
always growing, always learning.
Is that things come in, you have these epiphanies and you're like, and then you decide, okay, well, I see that thing that I'm doing and I don't want to be like that. And so that awareness becomes a choice to not do that thing or be that thing, a choice to be something very
intentional.
Intentional. Thank you. That's the word.
You act intentionally instead
intentional.
of reactive or just the same old same. Yeah. Yeah.
So that sounds like a good place to end it, because I like the way, I like that, if you're a younger woman, to find women, a mixed circle of women who have an age range, and maybe not women in your family, unless you have a really good family and those women are helpful. But if you have toxic women in your family, then you might venture outside of that, because they can be unhelpful.
Yeah.
And so
we love you guys a lot.
Yep.
This episode is probably could be 10 episodes, but
it could, but we're going to try to. We're at just over an hour.
Yeah.
So we love you, witches. We'll see you on the next podcast.
Yes.
Thanks for being with us.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.